The 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act was promoted as a surefire way to increase the wages of working Americans and promote the hiring of additional workers. More than 70% of this tax cut will be returned to workers, said White House spokesperson Sarah Huckabee Sanders, reading from official White House notes. It didn't work out quite that way. Corporations used far more of their tax savings on stock buybacks than on anything that would directly benefit workers. The total used for stock buybacks has surpassed $1.1 trillion, and the primary beneficiaries of that are people who are already wealthy. Let's try one more example. After filing for bankruptcy, Sears closed many of its stores, and the pink slips they put into workers' pay envelopes told them that there would be no severance pay for them due to the bankruptcy. Now they're giving out $25 million in bonuses to top executives. These are attaboys for the very geniuses who drove the company into bankruptcy. Want another example? Wisconsin voters elected to boot Republican Governor Scott Walker out of office and replace him with a Democrat. That lame duck session after that of the Republican state legislature then passed a series of bills designed to dramatically limit the power of the incoming Democratic governor, and Walker has signed those bills into law. That keeps power in the hands of the people who lost the election and effectively thwarts the will of the people. This post isn't about railing against fat cats or Republicans. Rather, it's about why we citizens are angry. It's about real grievances rooted in the lives of millions who suffer while the powerful few enrich themselves. I'm all for capitalism, but it, like anything, can be used to abuse, which is why we have regulations. Sometimes those regulations are ignored by those in power. Sometimes they pass laws that either directly or indirectly pad their own pockets and those of their donor class, often at the expense of the rest of us. One last example. Lieutenant General Michael Flynn was President Trump's first national security advisor. He was lobbying for a foreign government at the same time that he was receiving top secret U.S. national security briefings. What's wrong with this picture? Flynn lied about it. Trump tolerated it. How are you feeling about the performance of the primary job of the federal government, to protect our country and ensure national security? Flynn got $600,000 for his deceit. When it consistently feels like you're the screwy, there comes a breaking point for all of us, and we get very angry. Some want to carry torches in the street and burn it all down, and they will vote for whoever speaks to their rage. As long as that rage is continuously validated, all other leadership outrages can be ignored. Like putting numbers on the forearms of child detainees at our border concentration camps, instead of assertively dealing with the crisis of people seeking asylum. One of the reasons we remain so very angry is the continuing Russian propaganda machine that has permeated our nation. Russia has worked to divide us, polarize us, confuse us, sow dissent, and stoke our anger against anything we used to see as bedrock of our nation. The people in our national security agencies are working to unravel that, but the most important point is that the leader of our country refuses to crack down on the Russians. Rather, he continues to create chaos, distracting, America-defeating chaos, making the stock market tumble, shaking our international alliances, and making foreign autocrats applaud. All of that is why so many of us are angry. One more thing in 2 points. First, the government is shut down. That isn't about immigration. It isn't about national security, and it isn't even about a wall. It's entirely about Trump's infantile ego. He declared on TV, "If I don't get what I want, I'll shut down the government." That has absolutely nothing to do with what's best for our country. Trump is promising to hold his breath and turn blue until he gets his way, and he thinks that's what we should care about. How's that working for you? Or for the thousands of federal workers who won't be getting paid? Second point, Trump's tweet that he will swiftly remove our troops from Syria came as a surprise to literally everyone, including our own Defense Department. Trump intends to cede the entire Middle East to the Russians, the Turks, and the Iranians, and abandon our allies, the Kurds, again. That is past the line of what General Jim Mattis can tolerate, so he's leaving the Defense Department. That's shaking up our allies because there are no longer any adults in the room. Main point. As important as those issues are, recognize that Trump has effectively changed the national story away from the known 17 current investigations into the Trump crime family. Keep your eye on the ball. I'm Jack Alshuler.